foreign nurses in the NHS are threatening to go home. We're going to leave. Are you going to leave? Really? First of all, I don't think so. None of them are going to leave. But this leads on to a much bigger discussion about the NHS and their reliance on foreign labour. So let's start. First of all, here's some stats for you. 60% of all sexual assaults from doctors to patients, 60% of them, foreign-born doctors. But foreign doctors only make up 65% of doctors in the NHS. So the foreign doctor you're seeing is twice as likely to sexually assault you than a British-born doctor. How's that for stats? How's that? Does that make you feel good? Are you thanking those foreign doctors now for coming over in twice the numbers of sexual pests than homegrown doctors? Now let's look at nursing. We don't have those same stats with nursing because they hide a lot of the problems with nurses. It's amazing we get any of this information out of the NHS. But every time the NHS looks into foreign nurses and their qualifications, they always come back with, we've had to let quite a few of them go, you know. They weren't qualified nurses. They were fake documents. It was someone else's certificate that woman, that man was working on. That's every time we look into foreign nurses. And the countries who produce the most fraudulent nurses, India, Pakistan, Nigeria. So if you're being treated by a nurse from any of those countries, there is a percentage that they're not even a trained nurse. And even if they are a trained nurse, even if they are, their quality is much lower than a British trained nurse. Of course it is. Is anything in the third world as good as something in the first world? Is anything? And the answer is no. So why would we think they're training their staff to Western levels? Because they're not. There's also another report out there that looked at customer service within the NHS hospitals, and they could see a connection to the more foreign staff in a hospital, the lower the customer service as ranked by patients. So that's not care, that's not anything else, that's just customer service when you get a questionnaire at the end of your visit in hospital. So what does that mean? Well, it's obvious what it means. The more foreign staff in the hospital, the less customer service, the worse experience you suffer in that hospital. Well, it makes sense. Language barriers, cultural barriers, work ethic barriers, qualification frauds. It's bound to happen, isn't it? So let's look at doctors. Let's look at doctors and the rate of them making mistakes. Yeah, it's called malpractice. Let's look at that. Again, there is no stats for this for nurses, but for doctors there is. You are 1.8 times more likely to complain about a foreign doctor than you are a British-born doctor, and more likely to be found that they've committed malpractice. 1.8, nearly twice as much. Nearly twice as much. So why are we still using foreign doctors and nurses? Because we have to. I get that, because we have to. Because the system doesn't work. The system doesn't work. Our politicians never plan for the future. I've got a family member who qualified as a nurse 2 years ago and has tried for 2 years to get a job. Still can't get a job. Still can't get a job as a nurse 2 years later. How is that right? How is that right? And part of the problem is, yeah, of course, we may be underpaying nurses and doctors in this country. We may be, and maybe they deserve a pay rise. Maybe they do. That's a different discussion. But they're not going to get it while we keep bringing in cheap labour from abroad. Cheap labour always pushes down wages for everybody else, and it happens in the NHS. So let's look at who we're bringing in. We're bringing in basically foreign mercenaries. Foreign mercenaries who don't care about nursing, don't care about the British people. They're here for money. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but they're here for money. They're here to come here to look after us for money. Now, what's happening to those countries we take them from? What happens to the Philippines, Nigeria, India, Pakistan? What happens there? We leave those countries poorer, don't we? They have a worse medical service because we steal their staff. We let the third world train staff to a poor level, but they're still trained, and then we steal them. It's a type of modern slavery. It really is. It's a type of modern slavery. We're still going around the world and we're still stealing the third world to come here and work for us, to be our slaves. That's no way to treat the third world. You wonder why the third world stays the third world? Because we keep stealing the brightest and the best in every industry. We need to stop it. We need to say to these people from these countries, stay home and build your own country. Build your own country. Stop coming to ours and helping us. If that's what you're doing, stop it. Be selfish. Stay home and build a better nation for you, your children and your grandchildren. But no, our weak leadership, our pathetic managers in the NHS don't know how to run the NHS. So we have to rely on foreign labour. It's disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. We don't get the best of the third world. Or maybe we do, but it's not very good anyway, is it? That's why we call it the third world. And we have unemployed nurses and doctors in this country. You can't get jobs here. The whole thing needs looking at. It's a big Ponzi scheme. And it's going to collapse soon. And we're going to have to pay for it. Please subscribe. I'll see you next time for a little bit more moaning.